Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to No Shave November. So today's video is a little bit different today. It's not a tutorial, it's not a paint along or anything like that, but it is finally finished. Today I am going to introduce you to the Hulk that is designed by Alvaro Stuardo. I'm sure you guys have been following my social media posts and seeing the incomplete model on there. Well, today it is finished, and it is massive. So while I don't go through all of the processes that I did for this build here, simply because the model was just too big to actually fit it into the camera frame while I'm actually putting it together and painting, I do go over a couple of steps that are pretty important, a couple things that you can get out of it. But this is basically a video to show you what these big resin statues look like that I'm doing. This gives you a perspective of some of these things that I'm building, and I've lost my damn mind doing so. I don't know what's going over me. I mean, just whatever. Not to mention, I am finally trying to catch up on my backlog of painting work, I swear. But seriously though, this is a beautiful design of the Hulk. I did paint him as the gray Hulk rather than the traditional green Hulk. I just got two green Hulks already that I'm working on, and I've never done a gray Hulk before, so this is a first for me. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing, why don't we? All right guys, here you go. Here is the Incredible Hulk. I did this one in quarter scale. I sized it up 150% to the original file. It's from Alvaro Stuardo. And I've shown you his Wolverine before, but this thing is humongous. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece. He's doing some more characters as well, so definitely go over and check him out. There's a link in the description below. And first off, let's measure how tall this thing is. He is 28.5 inches tall with the base. And so without the base, he is going to be, looks like 25 inches, and he is hunched over. So he's a big, big guy here. So the base has him basically standing on what was left, I guess, of the Hulkbuster helmet and the hand here. And the very, very nice, very intricate type of detail on this thing. And I do not have him glued down. He's actually removable from the base. He's pretty light. I mean, he is all resin. The base is all resin. He sets up there very nicely with no issues of him tumbling forward. And so that's why I did not have to glue him down. I printed the base and the figure all on my Lenant deck printer. And the head was actually done on the base 8K printer. So if you guys want to know what I printed it on, there you have it. The base was printed, it is not FDM, it's all resin. The whole thing is 100% resin. The base was printed in 3 sections because I had to cut it up because of how big it was. Now the model was not keyed initially, so I had to key it on Mesh Mixer, and I'm not the best at making cuts, but I did fill it very nicely, got all the seams and gaps and everything out of that. Did pretty good job on it, I think. And I opted for the gray Hulk rather than the green because I do have 2 green ones actually coming up very soon. But I wanted a gray Hulk. I've never had a gray Hulk. This is actually my first time painting a gray Hulk. So I really like the challenge. I think the skin textures really turned out very nice. And so let's go and get some more close-up video of it, some shots of it, and kind of explain to you some of the things that I did. How about that? All right, so here we go. So first and foremost, what I did with the skin, I'll show you a process because I did film some of that. I just painted it a base gray, a lighter gray first. I went from light to dark. And then I actually shaded it a neutral gray in all of the cracks and crevices and stuff in the folds of the skin. And then what I did was I went back over with a gray wash over the whole entire skin, the whole entire body and stuff. And the reason I did that was because, you know, I just really wanted these skin textures to really come out, the pores in the skin and in the face and everything. And I think it just turned out really, really nice. So I did that, and let's take a look at that right now, that process, in case you want to use it on one of your figures. Okay, so one thing I did that I can show you, and this is a first for me, after I did painted the whole body, the gray, the light gray, and then I went in and I airbrushed to what I call preliminary shading, because I'm going to go a little darker. I put all that in there, and then what I did was I used a gray wash like this right here, and I went over very lightly over the whole entire body. And the reason being is because I wanted all those pores to come out within the skin. And so once I got dried, I went and I got a wet paper towel and I just skimmed the surface ever so gently to bring out that light color back again. And I'm still kind of working on it. And it still kept the pores, but like, you know, the really good spot to see is here in the foot. But, you know, I could take and kind of go over it a little bit, and it gets all those highlights back again, and doesn't make an entire mess or anything like that, and it still has the pores. But this is my first time ever trying it, and it actually worked. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back into the Hulk itself with a little bit of a neutral gray. And then I'm going to do a little bit more of the deep shading in the recesses of the skin and the folds and everything like that. And I'm going to bring out those highlights again with a little bit of lighter on top of that. All right, so the next thing that I did with the skin was I actually did the veining on here. And as you can see, all I did was I just created a brown grayish type mixture glaze, and I applied it on there like that. Now you can apply it with pastels, you can airbrush it on with a scale being this big, but I just chose to glaze it on there, and it turned out pretty good, I think. The next thing I did was I hand painted. I did not airbrush because I don't like masking off stuff, and so I hand painted the denim. I painted it just a basic dark blue gray, and I went from dark to light on this situation. And then I went and did some shading with the airbrush in the folds and everything with black gray. And then I went on top of that and I dry brushed a medium to light gray over the denim to bring out those textures into the skin. And I pretty much concentrated on like high wear areas like his butt right here, where you're gonna sit or where your pants are gonna rub. I kind of wanted to make it look a little worn. But that's pretty much how I did that as well. And then the white part up here, I just did a white with a little bit of pastel black on there, so it looks kind of worn on the edges and frayed a little bit. And that was pretty simple. So every picture I've seen with Gray Hulk usually has him with some gangly kind of yellow looking nails, and I actually did that because, I mean, yeah, this guy needs a pedicure big time. But, you know, just to kind of keep up with a little bit of that that stigma of the Gray Hulk. But the one thing that I couldn't do, guys, was I had to give him some whiter teeth. I couldn't do the yellow teeth, or it just didn't look right to me. And the eyes were pretty simple. The face, I just did a little bit of a pastel shading on the bearded area, like for the 5 o'clock shadow. Painted the top of his head, the hair, with a gray-black mixture, and then dry brushed it with a Stonewall gray. But other than that, the only thing that I did was, you'll see like some of the pinkish skin tone coming through. And what I did was I mixed a little bit, like 1 or 2 drops of that pinkish skin tone in with that gray paint. And when I went back over it, I just kind of did some of that in the highlights, in the fist, the knuckles, and parts of the skin where, you know, it's a little bit obvious. And then on the back, I did the same thing with the muscle tone. Just kind of highlighted some of those little pink areas, just a little bit, just to kind of break up the monotony of the grays. And I think it turned out pretty good. It looks a little bit more authentic, like gray skin, if there is such a thing as gray skin. Now, the only thing that I kind of just dropped the ball on a little bit is this neck gap here. Kind of sucks, but he's hunched over and you won't see all that much. When I glued him on there, for some reason or another, the glue lifted a little bit. and it lifted the head a little bit, which sometimes it'll do that. So pay attention to it when you're gluing stuff on there. And so yeah, I have to kind of deal with that, but that's okay. Now for the base, what I used for the yellow, I used a pearl yellow from Createx, and the red is just a flat red. Now I wanted to do a metallic type color on the red, but I figured between all of the weathering that I did, and there was a lot, with the silver and the chrome, I figured that it would have kind of taken away from that with that sheen on the metallic. So I went for this, and I think it turned out really well. There was a lot of weathering to do onto this base, and it really just depends on how you want to do it. I did a black wash in some areas just to kind of give it a little bit of contrast, and I did a whole black wash over the whole entire Hulkbuster arm or hand, claw, whatever you want to call it, and then I just weathered it up real good. And then for the rock, I just painted it just a dark gray, and then I just dry brushed it with a little bit of Stonewall gray and a little bit of white, and I mixed a little bit of brown on there. I did do a dark gray and brown wash on it to kind of break up that monotony as well and kind of give it a little bit of life to it. And then these little things right here, what I did was I did film, ironically, I filmed a little piece on this, and you guys could take a look at it now of why the hell these little brush things on there. All right, guys, sorry it's so noisy in here. I have my CR10 running. So I'm finishing up the base here and show you one other thing that I did here. I just kind of wanted to put a little bit of added features here on the base once I got everything dry brushed and all. And I just happen to have some of these old Army Painter Frozen Tough little thingies here. I put a few of those, but the ones that you see here, and I plan on doing a video about this later on to go into it a little bit more in depth. But like if you have like these little old paint brushes, like these little chip brushes that cost like 50 cents, you can take these and cut the heads off of them and use them for like little weeds and stuff like that to put in to some of like your terrain or your rock bases or something like that, just to kind of enhance a little bit more. But that's a cheaper alternative, you know, 50 cents, buy a few of these versus these things right here, which cost like $10 or so. So yeah, sometimes you just got to get innovative with it, but I'm really happy the way the base turned out. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that video and got something out of it. Please make sure to check out the link for Alvardo over there in the description. He does have a Patreon as well. And speaking of Patreon, I also have one, and that link is also in the description. And we do have a new member this week, Kenan B. Thank you so much for becoming the newest member of our Patreon. If you would like to support the channel by means of Patreon, that link is below in the description. And if not, we do have the super thanks available now. And if you still don't want to support the channel in that means, just watch the next video or share it with someone. And as always, everyone, stay safe out there. Get out and create something. Print, prep, paint, repeat. And until the next video, we'll see ya. Lactus, I swear, dude, I have not forgot about you. You're coming up next.